Hi, I'm Naomi, and I am one of the facilitators for the Blue Butterfly Institute's Cocoon Support Groups. We have one running almost every week and in one place or another, and what I took away from this week's session was the power of recognition. There is a strength in recognition, being able to look beyond where you are. To recognize patterns or feelings is to honor the knowledge of your experience. To see a pattern and be able to navigate in a different direction is to honor your own instinct and be true to ourselves by choosing better. Whether it's space to just think or feel on a matter, the ability to learn to really see where you are and what's going on takes an elevated step towards setting accurate boundaries and making choices that will bring us closer to where we really want to be. It takes a lot to be able to slow down enough to see and evaluate where you are. It takes skill and patience and understanding to recognize in a moment that something requires acknowledging. It validates. Having the power to recognize how you feel is a small act of giving you back to yourself. Recognition gives us the power of choice to truly think things through and take a step out of survival mode and a step towards living beyond. So that was my takeaway, and hopefully I will see you again next time. Thank you. Have a good week. Chrysalites in our support groups work so hard to do their soul work, to not shy away from the most difficult memories, to look at our lives and connect the links to the language that we use and the behaviours that we've developed. In order for us to truly feel free, we need people around us who have done their own work. We all have trauma to varying degrees, and so our supporters facing their own trauma allows us to meet and match that level of vulnerability. It's scary and it's intimidating to be able to have that level of trust, but the payoff of being vulnerable brings us all forward together. As the saying goes, you can only meet someone where they've met themselves. And as hard as it is, I promise it's always worth digging a little bit deeper. The opportunity to be able to meet someone on that level of vulnerability is incredibly validating as a survivor and as a supporter. I think it should be a point of pride to be able to allow such a connection, to always be working towards better communication and strengthening the new lives that we've created for ourselves after losing the trust that we did have in ourselves and others. We need a support network that, if it can't match our level of empathy, has at least an openness to understanding. The frustration of not having that level of vulnerability continues negative narratives. So if you truly want to be there for someone, do the work. Don't give up. Don't be discouraged. We're all moving forward one way or the other. The question is, how do you want to do it? We had a common theme this week of stepping up and having hard conversations. A part of our growth is to find the courage and acceptance to tell our loved ones that we've hidden parts of ourselves. We hide because of shame and embarrassment and fear that we don't need to hold, but we do. We get to a certain point of our healing, however, where we can no longer hide. We require, to get to that next step, the freedom of understanding and validation from those closest to us. It paves a new way of living where we are completely open. It's liberating beyond belief, but the step to get there is scary. You have to choose and trust that the story arc beyond the fear is worth it. From my perspective, as someone who has had the hard conversations, it is. The wonderful thing about support group is
getting a chance to work out exactly what it is that you want to say, finding manageable ways to make it less daunting, and having somewhere to talk about it afterwards and navigate where you want to go to next. It's nice to know that you're not so alone in the conversations, because we're all in it together.
Sexual trauma adds extra layers to everything. Every thought, every decision, every relationship, it's there. Finding the way to navigate and rewrite its presence in all of these spaces is exhausting and frustrating and overwhelming. Having to always be the one to stand up and set boundaries and be uncomfortable to deal with it is unfair, but it is our reality. Learning that you are worth the effort and doing regardless of the negative aspects, and trusting that it's going to be worth it, is outrageously difficult. But it's up to us. No one can give us what we need unless we tell them. We have to find our own ways to heal, our own coping mechanisms. Choosing to face it shows a tremendous amount of courage, and that's exactly what I think of everybody that turns up to support groups. It's hard to show up for yourself and prioritize all the parts that we've hidden, to take the time to understand the impacts and to understand just how far it goes. At least when we share it together and understand and empathize together, it's not so heavy and it's not so loud. We are worth the time to be a problem, and we are worth the time to heal.